Hi-ho, everybody. Welcome to the Kingdom Compass podcast, where we point you towards the goods and bads of all things Disney. I'm one of your hosts, Gryffindor Griffy Deephead, and with me, as always, the wonderful, the amazing Mr. Bitch George. How are you doing?
Sensational, amazing, spectacular even.
I am very excited for this episode, and this episode we have been waiting for a little while at this point.
I'm sorry, I've been sick for a few days. It's been really hard to be vertical, so I'm glad that we're able to talk about this now.
It has been totally fine for me because it means that I've gotten to see the movie we're about to talk about today multiple times, which we'll talk about, because today, folks, we are finally talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day. But before we get into any of that, of course, there's the rigmarole for this show. First off, hey, what's up? How's it going? Thank you for listening. If you're listening to us on podcast services, we have a YouTube version. If you're watching the YouTube version, we have the podcast version. Go check out wherever it is you want to watch the show, listen to the show. Thank you. Mitch is struggling.
I don't understand how the Gen Z heart thing works. Like, I'm old. I'm millennial. I can't do the. I mean, yours looks like an apple, but like, I can't.
Yeah, because
like,
my brain also at
doesn't.
An angle here.
That's also true. Yeah, my brain doesn't. I don't know. My hands. I don't know. They're just not as dexterous as I used to be.
Which is funny because it's like not that much, not that hard.
I know. I'm just an idiot.
Yeah, go ahead and check out all of our stuff. Of course, we also have the TV show. We are currently going through X-Men. We talked about the first half of the season, and we'll be talking about the back half of the season. Other shows coming out soon that we will be talking about.
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso's happening right now. Oh my god, it's finally back. There's other shows happening right now. It's a lot happening. Summer is insane. We're finally getting to the end of the summer season. D23 is right around the corner. There's going to be a couple of big episodes.
It's going to be wild.
I'm kind of terrified for it. Yeah, it's next weekend.
Okay. Should be free.
Just because I know Kingdom Hearts things are happening. And that scares me.
I mean, that's not the only thing that's going to be happening, and we'll probably talk about some of that and the repercussions here as we talk full spoilers about Spider-Man Brand New Day. But I know you don't want to get right into that.
Yeah, we're going to start.
No, you want to do the usual bits.
I want to do the usual bits just so that we have them, and just so I can shout out that something is back. Normally, the way we start off the show, we haven't done a regularly format show in a second because we had the trailer reacts. As we talk about what else we've been playing, watching, reviewing, etc., etc. I just want to quickly shout out Pokemon Pokopia again. I've shouted out this game so many times, Mitch, but we're back. I'm back.
I'm not. I got too much else to do.
All these other things you could be playing, I'm back. All these other things I could be watching, I'm back. Oh, and it feels so good. I've almost got all of good. I've got almost all of the new Pokemon already. I think I'm down. I think I need like 3 more. The new area is great. It's going to maybe last me like 2 hours. But I'm happy we're back. Anything you want to talk about before we talk Spider-Man? Or we want to just jump in?
I'm trying to think. I got nothing. Let's just do it.
Yeah, I was say the only thing I think of for you has been Ted Lasso, which we're going to talk about.
Rewatching the first 3 seasons of Ted Lasso, it's fantastic. They shouldn't have made a season 4. We'll see if I'm wrong.
I was going to say, we should stop saying that before we see what is coming.
True, but
this is not a Toy Story
season 3 finale is a perfect series finale, and I don't understand how we can get more, but we'll see.
Anyways, folks, we're talking today about Spider-Man Brand New Day. Hey, guess what? I have none of my stuff up for this. Give me a second. Here we go. Spider-Man Brand New Day, directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, DDC, written by Chris McKenna and Eric Summers. Some of the other stuff that they've written on has been the other Spider-Man movies, as well as Ant-Man and the Wasp for McKenna. And then Eric Summers.
As well as the upcoming Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, if I remember correctly.
McKenna, on the other hand, you would know from the other Spider-Man movies, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I also want to quickly also shout out the Lego Batman movie. And 2023's Ghosted. You may know that as that random Chris Evans action movie
Wasn't
where
it like
every
wasn't it like a Christmas rom-com or something?
it is a rom com, but the only reason I remember this movie is because there's a scene where like their assassins trying to kill them, and it's just every one of Chris Evans' MCU co-stars.
I've never seen this film, so I have no idea what we're talking about.
It's literally like I'll send you the clip at some point. It's funny.
Okay.
But with a runtime of 145 minutes, this movie starring Tom Holland, Zendaya State, Jason Batalon on Berthel, and a couple other people, Mark Ruffalo, Tramel Tillman, and other people that I would name that are spoilers. With a budget of $225 million, this already has a box office of $1.216 billion. Man, this thing is just hitting record after record. It is the highest grossing film.
Tom Holland's out here talking about how he's going to pass on the mantle of Spider-Man. This dude's getting the Hugh Jackman treatment. He's playing Spider-Man until he's 80.
This film grossed $510 million just in the US and Canada. It was the second best opening weekend of all time, only behind Avengers Endgame.
I thought domestically it was the largest opening weekend all time.
I
think it just lost out globally or something.
The best,
like that.
yeah, I'm looking at global.
Yeah, because I think the Russo brothers came out and like congratulated it on having a larger opening, similar to what James Cameron had done for Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, I will say. That said, okay, here we go. The film had the best first day ticket pre-sales in 5 years since No Way Home. This was later updated to 510 million total pre-sales, which is another record. Dolby Cinema also saw record pre-sales, having 2/3 the available tickets sold due to IMAX not showing this movie initially. It had the highest opening weekend gross of all time, at 360 million. This movie's making fucking bank.
First trailer had more views in 24 hours than any movie trailer in history on YouTube.
To the point that
which will only be surpassed probably by GTA 6 in a couple weeks.
The point that IMAX changed their decision. IMAX doesn't do that.
No. But there's a caveat there, right? They're not doing they're trading off show times with the Odyssey, which I did secure tickets to see it in 70 millimeter IMAX on the 16th of September.
Finally.
What the hell?
I'm happy I was able to get my ticket when I did for that movie, because I don't think I would have even bothered to see it otherwise. But yeah, crazy movie. Cinematography I want to shout out as well, because the cinematography is awesome in this movie, which was done by Brett Pollack. Brett has worked with DDC a couple of times. He was the DP for Wonder Man. He's also did obviously this. It's a movie that weirdly keeps coming up for me, but Brie Larson's Unicorn Store.
Okay. Also, either he, DDC, or the collective creative team played Spider-Man the video game recently.
They did, yeah.
Because this is a video game-ass movie, and every fight scene.
Oh no, they actively reference the game for the fight scenes in this movie. It is incredible. It really, I think, makes those fight scenes dope.
It does.
But Mitch, I am incredibly high on this movie. I had a great time. I have seen it now 3 times. I initially was only going to see it twice, and then I had extra free time because we took our time to get to this. So I've seen this movie 3 times now. Once regular, twice in Dolby. Mitch, I think you've seen this movie once.
I've seen it once.
I forgot to mention
Laser.
Music by the GOAT, Michael Giacchino.
Dude gets work.
Mitch, what do you think of Spider-Man?
This is a good Marvel movie. This is a bad Spider-Man movie. Like, straight up bad.
You are insane.
I know.
And I am ashamed.
Hear me out. This movie spends too much time with Spider-Man as Spider-Man. What makes Spider-Man special for me and for many people is Peter Parker. There isn't enough Peter Parker here. I understand it's part of the plot, but you can't have a Spider-Man movie without both playing a prominent role, and they don't here. And for me, that's a miss.
Oh, see, I fully disagree, and I would tell you that this is the most they've ever been intertwined. And that is to the detriment of like Peter's mental state, which is I think is what makes this movie interesting. To me, this is the most accurate and the best representation I've seen of Spider-Man in a live action form. I think this is the best live action Spider-Man movie. I think that
Okay.
I am on the record saying I don't like Tobey. I still don't like the Tobey movies. This is the closest we've gotten to what Spider-Man actually is since Amazing Spider-Man.
I would agree there because there is less of the Marvel baggage around this character. Oh wait, no there isn't. Spoilers, they use this movie just to set up bad guys for the next phase of the movies that might not even end up being anything like all these other post-credit scenes that have led to literally nothing. Okay? You introduce a big bad in charge of damage control. You give him zero character development. He ended up murdering somebody. No one really cares. Dude barely has 5 minutes of
Okay,
screen
but to
time
be
in
fair,
this
the
movie.
government murders people all the time and we just don't give a shit.
True. But like there's no like they make the big bad the government guy that had no character development, and we have had this problem of underdeveloped villains since Iron Man 2. Go back to Iron Man 2 and you've got Whiplash, no one gave a shit. Justin Hammer only gets by on the charisma that is Sam Rockwell. That took me a second, I apologize. But we've had this problem throughout the MCU of these villains that just don't matter. Fucking dark elves and fucking all like
Malekith,
yeah, like they're inconsequential.
Look,
Look at Eternals and
I agree
Bill
that I agree that Wesker is not much of a villain in this, but also like I think he is exactly as much a villain as he needs to be. The fact that he is doing all of this with that happy-go-lucky face, lying his ass off to Peter, it wasn't that crazy shock to me that the damage control were the villains here, just because we have had the damage control be the villains for 4 or 5 projects now. Like, but
like, and that's
I
part of my
still
problem
like
too. Is we've told this story before. We told this in Homecoming. We told this in Wonder Man. We told this in Miss Marvel. Like they've told this story time and time again. And
but
but
here's the thing:
it's
how many people are actually watching this? Because this was very much
Not
a movie to the people that are not us, right? Like these are the people of we gave up on watching Marvel and we're back. This was a movie very much dedicated to, hey, we are incredibly cynical about where this shit's at. So we are going to tread some of the same stuff, but still tell a good story. Like, this is a different level of damage control than we have seen, so I'm okay with us doing this again. But also, it is like core to the ethos of Spider-Man. Spider-Man is going to believe in people and believe they are good until proven otherwise. And I think that was done incredibly well in the realization moment of this movie of Spidey being like, oh wait, no, they weren't good. And despite everything he's gone through, still believing in people, I think is such a core to Spider-Man's mythos. And I loved that so much.
Like this film for me does not do enough to Spider-Man as a character in the MCU for me to care the way I should care about Spider-Man as a character. The only character progression that we get here is that I can handle both sides of myself, and now I have organic webs instead of web shooters. Like we're going from A to A+1. We're not going from A to B. You get this whole thing with Banner and the Hulk, and he ends up in a mental hospital. We're never going to see any outcome from that. The same way we never saw any outcome from the Shang-Chi mid-credit scene with Banner.
I think Banner we get sooner rather than later, but I think Banner shows up in Avengers.
I don't think so. I don't think Banner's in Doomsday. I think a version of Banner probably shows up in Secret Wars, but I don't think we see this Banner until the universe resets or ever, to be perfectly honest.
See, I still think you're thinking too much about this reset. Like, they have said it's not a full reset.
I know it's not a full reset, but at the same time, like, they're doing things with these characters and trying to set them up for future opportunities, and then nothing comes of it. We see, and I'm going to go full spoilers now. We know that the Hulk's been in this movie. It's been in trailers, whatever. Full spoilers. We introduce a very important mutant in this movie. We introduce Jean Grey to the MCU. That's awesome. You set her up as a bad guy. She literally kills somebody in this movie, and Peter forgives her, and she gets on a bus to go upstate.
Are
And
you
they're
actually?
never going to talk
No.
about her. They are never going to mention the fact that she murdered an old guy by throwing him in front of the bus while being mind controlled. They're never going to talk about that again. And there should be real consequences for somebody killing somebody.
Oh,
Like,
see, I think
Peter Parker,
look.
Peter Parker,
The part of the
doesn't
X-Men, the
forgive
X-Men have
that
always been
kind of-
fucking flawed. That's always been the point. Like, there was something that I was talking with my little brother about this movie, and he was like, "Why do you?" It was one of those like, "Oh, you're so close" conversations. He was like, "Why do mutants always make it so hard to like them?" And I was like, "Oh, buddy, oh." Where it's like, yeah, they are definitively flawed characters just doing what they're trying to do. Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, killing bad. Yeah, no shit. But
She didn't have to throw that old guy in front of the bus, but she did, and Peter still forgives her by the end of the movie, which doesn't make any sense for Spider-Man or Peter Parker as a character.
I mean,
It doesn't.
I hate to play that role. Do we know that guy's dead, or was he just assumed because he got hit by a bus?
They threw a 70-year-old man in front of a bus. The dude's dead.
Again, I'm saying it, but this is Marvel. They are not subtle.
They're never going to address this again because it wasn't a main character. It was literally a throwaway. Literally, she threw that dude away into the street. He got hit by a bus. But that's not who Spider-Man is. And that's where I have problems with this movie. Of the relationships he has with Banner, with Frank, with Jean, don't feel like there are elements of them that feel earned or lived in. It makes this feel like a universe. But then there's just weird interactions that seem to only be there in terms of like either product placement with like the amount of ads for Samsung in this movie is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. But I'm
It's
used to
really
that.
fucking bad. Ned creates an app so that he can flip open a Samsung folding phone every time he has to open the goddamn app. People don't do that. People don't buy those phones. People get given those phones by Samsung and then
It
post
sounds
about
like you're
on
just
TikTok.
annoyed with the general
That's
state
it.
of movies at this point, man. Like that's most movies.
Yes, I am. I'm upset with the general commercialization of Spider-Man as a character. That is very true. It's been a problem going right back to the Sony.
Well, I don't think these issues are not
that
just Spider-Man.
Andrew
This is
Garfield
everywhere.
used in his movies, but it's just like his relationship with Banner was there to be like, oh, tongue in cheek. Hey, look, Empire State University. We're diving into our bag here. Like it doesn't fucking matter. None of it matters, buddy. In this movie, he's in a mental hospital. Great. We're never gonna see where that goes. He's just going to show up one day and be like, hey, look, I'm wearing sweatpants now and I can control Hulk again. Let's go. Like, it's.
Oh, see, I still fully disagree.
I'm not. Nothing about what we got from this movie makes me excited to see where the characters that are here go next, except for maybe Frank Castle, but that's just because this rendition of Punisher was so different than what we've seen John Bernthal do.
I will say, like, the John Bernthal of it all, like, we can get into that later. This is my favorite rendition he's ever done. Since Daredevil Season 2. Like,
I agree.
But with this, I was like, what I like about this movie, especially, is the stakes. It is a lower tier movie. Like, there's this whole bit, like, we've got full spoilers at this point.
It's small potatoes.
It's small potatoes.
Small potatoes.
Like, it maybe not quite as small as, Yelena makes it out to be, but, like, having Yelena in there, having Hulk in there, like, that is what I've wanted out of the MCU for so long of, no, they're not just a cameo, they're there for a reason, but they're there. And it's the thing where it's like we've talked about it a couple times, right? Like, oh, in Thunderbolts when everyone gets blacked out, why the fuck is Spider-Man not doing shit? Like, we've talked about that a few times, and it's like, no, there is a reason why no one else is dealing with this, because they're off doing their own shit. And like having that,
don't explain any of that either. It's like, oh, we have the Staten Island incident. Okay, and we're never going to explain what happened in Staten Island?
Yeah, because they don't.
We're never going to explain how Spider-Man linked up with Black Widow and ends up shirtless in a Russian bathhouse.
How about Budapest? We were never supposed to know what Budapest was.
But then we did.
So maybe we'll get Staten Island. I hope we never get it. I like there being something
I don't think we do.
I don't think we ever do, and I think we are better off for that. We don't need to see everything. Like, having there be a stake in that ends, like, this man has been Spider-Man for 4 years. There's a 4-year-long montage at the beginning of this movie. Stuff is going to
Which
happen in that
I
time that
also-
we're not going to see.
I have issues with that as well, where they hyped up at least the tombstone of it all, and that is a blink and you miss a cameo. They hype up Michael Mandow back as Scorpion. Granted, he gets 2 whole scenes, but they're throwaway. And again, you have such a rich rogues gallery for Spider-Man. He has probably the second deepest rogues gallery in all of comics, apart from Batman. And our villains here are Jean Grey and fucking Damage Control again. Why?
Again, I think we need to set the again of it aside. Because it's just
fine. Not again, but our villain is the government and a character that you are setting up to be a tentpole player in your future phases of this universe who straight up murders a guy and causes PTSD for Spider-Man and throws his girlfriend off a building. Like, those are, in my opinion, things that even the nicest of Peters would not be forgiving of. And that would lead to, again, this weird place that we end up in this movie where he's also invented the mutant suppressant collars and all of this tech that's going to go and build into a bigger part of the MCU going forward of just power control and power manipulation. Which, hey, remember when we set up the power broker and did fucking nothing with that too? Like,
I feel like a lot of what you're talking about is issues aside. I feel like a lot of the stuff you're talking about is not issues with Spider-Man.
No, it's just issues with the MCU at this point.
Because I think I genuinely think this movie is incredible. Genuinely, everything you're talking about hating in this movie, I love. And I think this movie is. And I think everything you hate about this movie is better off for doing. Even. Like, I really like the power manipulation of it all. I think that was a really great way to bring in Peter's intelligence to this and do something unique within the MCU of it's like, oh no, this is going to set up for later future consequences. And the idea of who controls the power has always been an interesting thing within the MCU.
But it always ends up being the government. And then they're just going to set up Bolivar Trask as a sub-villain in this first X-Men film. And he's going to have repurposed damage control tech that was this power suppressant thing. And Bob's your uncle, now we got Sentinels, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it will probably be cool.
Also, I don't think so, because it's predictable at this point, and it's a story that we've seen in the X-Men films in the last 10 years.
Everything is predictable for us. Here's the problem, is that we read this shit. We know everything is going to happen. Everything that they could possibly pull from, we know.
I just want them to do something different. Right? They have the opportunity here to show us a villain we've never seen. I'm honestly really hoping.
I mean, you talk about different. We got different in this movie. I was racking my brain for this entire movie trying to figure out what
we did not get different in this movie, because this is the other problem I have with this movie. There are at least 13 MCU projects where mind control has been the fucking villain's MacGuffin. All right?
Hit me with the list.
Avengers, Winter Soldier, Age of Ultron with Scarlet Witch, Civil War again with the Winter Soldier shit, Black Widow with the chemical mind control stuff that they use on the Black Widows, Druig's telepathy that he uses to control an entire village in the Eternals, Multiverse of Madness with the Darkhold's corruption and dreamwalking, Deadpool and Wolverine with Cassandra Nova. They've done this time and time again, and yes, they do it slightly different every time, but it doesn't have to be the same fucking power set every goddamn time. Every time.
I think it's different in this one. I'm sorry, I just do.
Jessica Jones Season 1, WandaVision, Agent Carter had mind control. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had mind control. Loki Season 1 and 2 both had... Loki had elements of mind control and mind erasure and memory manipulations. Like, it's played out, and they did it again just to introduce fucking Jean Grey into the MCU, and I'm sick of it.
I mean, you might be sick of it. She's fucking great in this movie. Like, I'm sorry, she just is. Sadie Sink fucking kills this shit.
Sadie Sink is great. The thing I am disappointed.
Are you still hung up on the murder?
He murders somebody. Yes. And I get that Jean Grey in the comics is not the Jean Grey we have here.
I said, do we want to talk about Jean Grey's body count everywhere else?
Okay, let's not talk about Jean Grey's body count. Let's talk about Marvel Girl's body count, because we're talking about a Jean Grey that hasn't even met, presumably has not met Xavier.
No, I'm talking Jean Grey, not before she becomes Marvel Girl. Regular Jean Grey, before any interaction with Professor X, murders a bunch of fucking people. That is her intro.
Right, but she doesn't do it by choice. That is her losing control of her powers. This was a literal choice she made while she was in somebody's head.
See, I totally disagree with you. Again, I don't think they're dead. Yeah, a 70-year-old person jumped into a bus, but it's fucking Marvel. Marvel
Again,
does
they're
not
never
let
going
that
to
shit
talk
go
about it.
crazy. No, they're not.
No,
Because
but
it was
also-
inconsequential. Like, I'm sorry, but that moment just is.
It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me.
I'm sorry
Also,
you got
can we
hung up
talk
on
about the
30
fact that
seconds.
Okay. Yes, but it's not just it's just the entire oh, like there are things about this movie I do genuinely enjoy. Like I said, I enjoyed what they did with the fight choreography. I enjoyed what they did with all of the web swinging, the swinging with MJ. All that stuff's great. The scene with them and like the two of them and Ned in the apartment building the Legos, it's all nice and stuff. But like all in all, the elements that they are the things they are introducing, quote unquote, here of government oversight and mind control, we've seen. And I want something different. I just want something different.
See, I feel like we got there in the end. Like, obviously, yes, there's the mind control, and the dark damage control does not get it. What I liked for this was that it was far more personal than any of the other the examples that you just gave, with the exception of Jessica Jones, because that's an incredibly personal story. It will never be done better than that. We all know that, right?
And again, we talk about television, we talk about the Netflix projects as a totally separate thing to core MCU feature films because they are.
Like, if we ranked every single thing in the MCU, I think you and I would both agree that Jessica Jones is near the top of that list. Season 1, specifically, is near the top of that list. Right? Like, it is just that good. For me here, like, I like that this was the beginning of her powers. Like, it wasn't... Yes, it was... What made it different was the body hopping of it. It's the body hopping of it is what made me think this wasn't Jean Grey when we were seeing trailers. Like,
me too.
I think seeing the
That's
body
not
hopping...
her power set.
And then to learn, it's like, no, the reason that she can only do body hopping is because she doesn't have a developed power set yet.
She hasn't been through training with Xavier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To then get to by the end of this movie of having her go through all of this and like, yes, money of mutants, emotional states are incredibly important for mutant power progression, blah 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 blah. Like, to get this to the point where it's like, no, she kind of is starting to have telekinesis now, and her telepathy is a lot more stronger now. Like, I really liked that progression in that within the story of this, of Peter figuring things out as well. And, like, ultimately what it was for me, where it was, oh, Peter sees someone where he was at the end of the last movie. Where he was angry, wants the world to go. He just wants the one thing. And now he has the chance to give that back to someone. I really love that within Peter's story here. Like, the way that they use this Aunt May flashback, I think, was incredibly well done. And was, for me, like, one of the emotional centers of this movie. Adding everything else on top of that to remind us this is a lived-in world. This is some of the best swinging we have seen in a Spider-Man movie. The commitment they had to doing it in a real-world environment and not just CGing it, I think, really shows here. Like,
it does.
I
really
like
things like the scorpion effects, the only thing that was CG was the tail. All of the suits are real, they're lived in. It like, did make it little like
sorry, you finish.
I just want to go back to Tombstone, and that makeup looked terrible. Like,
he did.
That is I'm glad it was just a blink and you miss a cameo, because like if we had been looking at that the entire movie, that is what we would be talking about.
At the same time, part of me is kind of relieved they didn't go to this big Tombstone line, because like that's kind of the story they're doing in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So,
but again, it's not the same. Like,
yeah, it's all different because
same but different.
Yeah. But no, we mentioned of like what's new in this movie, right? Like, which I do agree with. I do want them to do new things. The twist for VMAX I thought was incredible. See, me being the comic book nerd, I am twisting my brain the entire fucking movie to try to figure out what VMAX was. And for the reveal to be, it's like, oh, it was just the last thing she saw before she died. I thought was incredible.
Well, and it also is just like, oh yeah, the DODC director wasn't lying when he didn't have a clue what VMAX was, and neither did Jean when she was searching through their files and found nothing. Like, that was interesting. But like, I don't know if it was enough for me, at least. Like,
I would tell you that, and then the relationship with MJ, I think, is incredible with this as well. Like, I love that they don't get back together. I love their moment. As heartbreaking it is, like, I don't love you because I don't know you.
which is entirely fair from her perspective. And I
Mm-hmm.
agree with that. What I don't agree with is where it seems like we got to at the end of the movie. And the reason why a telepath was a central part of this is it seems like either through muscle memory or through some element of the mind blast, there are elements of MJ and Ned's past that get unlocked. And we see this as well. Like when she dives into Peter's mind, she's able to pull this one memory out. Not so much that like she's strong enough that she can do it, but he also lets her. Right. But when
See,
she's in everybody else's head, does she find something in Ned and MJ and unlocks that? And that's where they get into the next
I
movie
don't
and
think she
wherever they
does
go with
because
that.
she makes that comment when she's taken over MJ, right? Where she's like, there is nothing about you in this brain. There is nothing there. There is not something locked away from her that she can't access. There's just nothing there. And yeah, she's stronger by the end of it, so it could obviously be a part of a thing. I think what they were trying to go for, though, was no, the muscle memory of this is bringing things back. For me, my brain, when he says Peter at the end, I was like, no, you don't fully remember him, but hey,
That's
MJ
based on
fucking said Peter.
MJ using his name.
Like,
but also the two things that stick out to me there is you have the Black Dahlia moment where she's on top of the high school with that. So that means something to her, and something about that is bringing back some memory. What does that actually entail for the future of these characters? And I had assumed when I first saw it that, yeah, the handshake was just muscle memory. But is that also just something that was unlocked through Jean's increased abilities when she was in their heads?
See, I didn't assume her being on there with the necklace was like her having memories back. I thought that was her processing the crazy fucking shit that happened to her in this movie. Like,
see, it's too much of a coincidence for me to think that there wasn't something there. But I mean, we're gonna have to wait for the next movie to find out.
Yeah, which will happen in 10 years. And
no, this will. I guarantee you, Shang-Chi 2 is not happening. DDC, they are already gearing up for the next time that he has availability to film a movie. They're filming another Spider-Man movie because this movie made too much fucking money.
Maybe that's why they canceled fucking Wonder Man. Well, and not just Disney hates black people.
I was gonna say there's that, but my theory, and we'll see if this is brought to fruition with what we see at D23, is that Daredevil season 3 will be announced as the last season of Daredevil Born Again, and there will not be any live action MCU content created for Disney Plus.
Interesting. I don't see that.
Vision Quest and Daredevil season 3 will be it. You'll still get X-Men, you'll still get Friendly Neighborhood, you'll get other spin-offs like that, but you're not going to get.
See, I think they're just going to go for more of a different style. Like,
I hope so, but I also I don't think the viewership is there to justify the investment that they're putting into the platform. And we've already heard Feige say more than once that they have to go for quality over quantity.
Well, I'm thinking of
Disney
like that
Plus
recent
was quantity.
I'm thinking of that recent Feige interview where they said a lot more than I ever expected them to say in a fucking interview, by the way, between him and Amy Pascal. It's like, hey, no, we're reworking this. We're figuring out how to do this. Like, one of the things they said was, it's like, no, we'll keep doing TV, but it's going to be more street level. It's going to be more individual. And then we keep the movies for those crossovers. Like, I think that Spider-Man is a very good example of what we're going to see in a lot of the movies going forward, of other characters popping in for either a helpful role or a cameo role. Like, I wouldn't necessarily call Yelena, Bruce, or Frank here cameos. Like,
Yelena, I would.
Yelena,
but
I think
Bruce
that's the
and Frank, I think, were core to the plot of the film.
Yeah, but here's the thing. For me, a cameo means that it's just there for fun. Yelena has a reason to be there. Like, she gives Peter vital information. Like, that is her reason for being in this movie.
But okay, she also gives Kate Bishop vital information in Hawkeye, but nothing has come of that.
I mean, there it does in that show. And that's the point. I don't think about the future anymore when it comes to Marvel. I think about what was it in this movie that I liked. And I think, because frankly, who fucking knows? The future is such a question mark for anything Marvel that I'm just going to enjoy the movie that we're at.
I mean, the future is a question mark for anything in general at this point. Like, nothing is guaranteed. I just, knowing the character of Spider-Man and the different threads that they tried to weave here, ultimately, I feel like none of those individual threads reached a conclusion that for me as a viewer where I was satisfied. The physical transformation stuff and the emotional journey that he goes through, it does seem like the suppressant tech one. I get that we set up he's a dumpster diver in Homecoming. I still don't understand where he, like, I assume just based on the T-shirt that he's working at the bodega, but like a bodega salary for Peter Parker is not.
I will say those were my two biggest critiques of this, where it's like, I don't get me wrong, they've said so many times that, like, especially in the last Spider-Man, it's like, this is just a world that's much more technologically advanced than us. I don't care. I wanted to see him having a job. Like, I want to see him making money somehow. Like, I like to see that,
I want to see him working at the Bugle.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want to see. I want to see him having to work for Jonah having no idea who this kid is, this punk kid off the street who's taking photos.
Either that, or
we've done that story before, but
just because of the way they set up the Bugle in this world, I don't see it, because they set up the Bugle to be an InfoWars like
correct.
I could see it more of him just working shitty dead end jobs so that he can have some sort of money, because that's the only thing he can get when he is a human that doesn't exist.
But we also saw that as well in the Toby movies. So like they probably just don't want to retread that, and I understand that.
I wanted like 5 seconds.
Something else.
I wanted it part of the montage.
Sure. That would have been fine. One other thing, I think we're getting close to wrapping up here. I need to call out one other cardinal sin. I
got so much more to talk about. So
okay, never mind. Well, I'm going to call this one out now.
Yeah, you can
talk about all the things you loved. I've never met someone who is native to the city of New York who would, by choice, order Little Caesars.
Oh, 100%. That was the most egregious of the product placement, just because of Little fucking Caesars.
I still look. I will devour a hot and ready in a pinch. It's convenient. It's not that terrible. You walk down the street
I'm
anywhere in New York and you get a $2-3 slice. It's going to be better than anything you get.
It's not even the more economic situation for Peter. Pizza is so fucking cheap in that city, in some places.
No, but he needs the calories, so I understand the whole pie versus one slice idea. But
even still,
egregious product placement. I don't think it's as bad as Samsung, but it's pretty close.
The reason I think the Little Caesar one stands out for me is because they did that whole influencer.
It's New York City.
Well, but they did the influencer visit Peter's apartment thing. Did you see this? It's so many people. So they did this. So many people just took pictures. Like, why the fuck is this man eating Little Caesars? It was like the main focal point of people going there. But we've talked about it a lot. Again, I think some of this is good. Disagree on certain things. For me, what it comes down to, though, is the main ethos of this movie. And mind you, that this is, I would agree, this is well-trodden ground within the MCU, and Spider-Man especially. But the idea of you can't go it alone. Right? Like, when Peter is in 4 years of trauma, right? Like, let's be honest, the closest person to him died. He had to erase everyone's memory of him, and then he just never dealt with it for 4 fucking years. Like,
I mean, it's not even that he dealt with it. He surrounded himself with other examples of poor management of trauma.
Like, I'll tell you what this man did.
And Banner.
He shoved himself into his work. In the most relatable fucking way possible, this man shoved himself into his work to ignore his trauma. Like, watching somebody address that and, like, the acceptance of, I can't be alone, I need other people, I need to rely on those people around me, I think is a story that I will always love, regardless of how many times we see it. Because I think it is a story that's incredibly important. Like, my favorite thing about this one is like, hey, yeah, life moves on, things are going to change, but you still need to find people. And I think it does it incredibly well. Like, obviously, there's the Ned and MJ of this all, but one of my favorite interactions with him is with why can I never remember her name?
The wolf?
Yeah, the wolf. Lisa Colonzas. Um, at the beginning of this, right, like, it's very much it's still a business relationship at the end of this, but going from like actually learning her kids'
But at least
names.
he learns her kids' names. Whoop de whoop.
And it's like great, they have a little bit more of a relationship now. Like I like that. There are some little weird things. Why the fuck are the hand in this movie other than just fighting ninjas are cool? That's the only reason they're in this movie.
Why the hand? Like DDC is right there. Just use the 10 rings. Like it's right there. It's already established in the MCU. The hand we haven't seen since Daredevil season 3 on Netflix. Like why? Why? Just why? There's a lot of dumb things here. And I get that we're likely to see the hand in Daredevil Born Again season 3, but at the same time, like, there's just some weird there's weird things here, but also I also love the idea that Yelena is set up in a Russian bathhouse in her office as opposed to just hanging out in a
seeing that was the most Yelena shit possible.
But also, like, kudos to Marvel for finding some way to discolor water with minerals in such a clear way to not show more than they absolutely needed to.
Mm-hmm. I will say with all that, I also love that because of stuff like that, because of the interaction with Frank, we've really got Peter like keeping his mask on around people in ways that were funny. We got shirtless Spider-Man in this, which is a very specific reference to a very specific group of people that if you know, you know. Yeah, I think I really love this movie. We got the Born Again reference right within the blink and you miss it of Sheila Rivera, who's now mayor. I'm trying to think what else we've got here. There's Jean Grey of it all. Oh yeah, the one thing I really wanted to touch on was Peter's conversations with MJ. Yes, that I think we all agree that scene of them hashing it out after the letter, incredible. Peter, stop leaving this fucking letter around everybody.
But again,
that man literally leaves it around everybody.
A letter for him was a crutch. It was a connection to his former life, and his former life no longer exists. And he's able to cope with that in this movie and come to grips with that. He doesn't deal with it, but he does move on from it, which is good to see in terms of character progression.
See, but that's like, the thing is that he really doesn't. It is a crutch, yes, but like I don't think he even moves on from it until the end of this movie, like until talking with Jean.
I think what's worse is like we're probably going to see a Spider-Man 5, which I hope is Kraven's Last Hunt, assuming we see a symbiote suit in either Doomsday or Secret Wars.
I would presume.
I think that would be incredible, but that's just because I want a good version of Kraven, because that movie was terrible.
You know what? To this day, I still haven't seen it.
I've not seen it from beginning to end. If Carmen's asleep, I'm going to watch it after this podcast.
I don't think that's going to help you tonight.
Not in the slightest. One other thing that I did...
But no, I was trying to go through with MJ real quick. I want to talk about the conversation to have when Ned runs off to go grab food. The fact is, like, hey, because I think what Jean did with MJ is far more egregious than what Jean did to the dude that gets hit by a bus.
The dude she threw in front of the bus and murdered. Yeah.
Like I think this is far more egregious. Like the kissing Peter and all of that. And like him having that conversation with MJ, I was like, oh, thank you for actually addressing this. Because it was creepy and weird. And also the actions of a weird-ass, angry teenage girl that doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. Like, I liked that they addressed that, and I was like, oh no, this adds to Peter cares. Yeah, she has no fucking idea it happened.
He didn't have to say anything. I'm glad that he did, because that's just the good person that Spider-Man / Peter Parker is. I'm really interested to see where that relationship goes, because again, I do think that they're setting something up where I think that because Strange's spell had to do with ending multiversal incursions, and we already know that the central theme of Doomsday is going to be multiversal incursions. Say that 5 times fast. That something about those walls coming down is going to break the spell in some fashion. At least for those closest to Peter, or at least for those who make it out the other side of Secret Wars into whatever this soft reboot of the MCU is going to look like. I'll be very curious to see what that means for what we get in terms of storytelling with MJ, with Peter, with Ned. Do we go Hobgoblin? That would be an interesting place to take Ned Leeds. But again, you do that, and we're back to fucking mind control, Griffin.
I mean, okay, most Hobgoblin stories, yeah, but also if you really do
Well, the
Hobgoblin
Ned
well,
Leeds Hobgoblin specifically.
if they could do Hobgoblin instead of like basically replace the Green Goblin story with Hobgoblin, that would be kind of incredible.
If done well, I agree, but
Hmm. And like,
I don't
look,
know if they can pull it
if
off.
you're gonna do something like that, you kind of have to do it well. I think. I think. Okay, so shifting brain to future, right? I think there's just a lot you can still do with this character. Um,
Oh, it's Spider-Man. You're going to make movies
like,
for him until Tom Holland's 80.
but like within the MCU specifically, I think what they finally learned here though is to keep things chill, keep things slow, street level, keep things small potatoes. Like,
That's the problem though, because there's the elephant in the room that we haven't discussed yet, because we usually go there first, and that's the post-credit scene.
I assume that post credit scene is purely for Doomsday and Secret Wars.
So I agree. We've had no marketing of
I
Tom
also don't
Holland's
think it's
Spider-Man in
Peter.
either of those films. With how much money this movie makes and how much money this character makes, if this version of Spider-Man was in Doomsday, I think we'd already know it. Because they would use him to market the shit out of that movie.
I don't think so.
I think
The
I
marketing for
have
that
a
movie has
I have
been
a
real fucking weird.
it has, and we already know Marvel has a history of digitally removing things from trailers. I actually think that
I
so
think
we
it's Toby.
see I was going to say I think it's Toby as well. We see this post-credit scene of a Spider-Man that is off-world. When's the last time we saw something off-world in the MCU in a post-credit scene?
Oh yeah, so I ultimately what I think
I
is post credit
fully
scene. Can I you and I go to the same
Yes.
place with the Fantastic Four.
Yes.
The way that the lead into Secret Wars in the comic book, right, is them building the arc.
The Secret Wars 2, for those who don't know,
Yeah,
there
Secret
was
Wars
the
2.
original Secret Wars story in the 80s that introduced the symbiote Spider-Man. That was the Collector and Grandmaster doing their thing.
Yeah,
I think
this one that they're making more based off of.
this is the newer Secret Wars where there is an arc that is being used to have a small group of heroes. Yes, that book exactly. It's a great book.
Read
Everyone
this
should
book.
give it a
It's
read.
great. But no,
It's
basically
really,
the
really
way
good.
that in the lead up to this, right, is they build the arc. That kind of is how they get a lot of heroes to actually remember what the fuck is going on. Even though it doesn't ultimately fully work, it's a whole thing.
We'll see what they do with this Secret Wars, but I
Prediction
assume
would
some
be
element of that will be adapted.
my prediction is that they would make some sort of arc. I would guess that would repurpose the Excelsior, the Fantastic Four ship,
Well,
and then that would
that
be
is my
and then Spider-Man would be on that, or Peter Parker from this movie would be on there. I still think we get Toby in this movie. I think Toby gets killed within the first 20 minutes of this movie.
I have the opposite feeling. I think that the Excelsior arriving in Earth 616, which I still think is a really dumb thing for them to have done in the MCU, but I'm not going to dwell on that. The Excelsior arriving is not arriving with just the Fantastic Four on it. I honestly think this movie is going to start with them on the side of Doom. I think Doom is going to be an ally to start in this film. And I also think that there are other heroes from other Earths that are on that ship as it arrives in 616, including Toby Spider-Man. Maybe Doom killing Toby Spider-Man is part of the catalyst to him being the ultimate villain of the film. And then ultimately leads to our Peter in a post-credit scene getting on the Ark and surviving and ending up in Secret Wars.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a thing where I think Elena calls him in. Where I think
that blip of Spider-Man in space is a Spider-Man that is already on the Excelsior arriving for the events of Doomsday.
Yeah, see, I think we're both in agreement there. Where for me, I do think there's going to be other heroes on there. Like we know Steve is going to be on there, right? We assume Steve is going to be on there because of the whole scene in the trailer.
Loki like implants him there or something. Like we'll see what happens. Yeah.
I could see them pulling like an X-Men character, maybe. And maybe that's where everyone meets.
That's where I could see that's where I could see us seeing Hugh Jackman or Deadpool. Because I expect that the X-Men world that we see in the trailer is not the one that those two characters end up on by the end of Deadpool Wolverine.
Gotcha. Yeah, I still think a lot's happening, and I think I think Spidey's in this movie. I still think that Peter is in that movie. Um,
I
I think
don't
he's in
think
it for a
Tom
very
Holland. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think Tom Holland has a large role or
yeah.
anything apart from a mid or post credit scene in Avengers Doomsday. I think he is going to be the central focal lead of Secret Wars.
I would agree with that. I think he's in Doomsday. I just think he's in it for maybe 15 minutes. Like
I
if
don't even
that.
think we get that much. I think we get a tease of him in Secret Wars, and that's it. And the Spider-Man that we would see in this film would be one of Toby, Andrew, hell, Donald Glover is an older Miles. Like, I don't know. They could do weird stuff. Do Miguel. Like, just who cares? We're never gonna see Moon Knight again. Just fucking throw Spider-Man 2099 in this. Why not? You could do it. Balls to the wall, baby. Let's see where we end up in 2027 with that.
Yeah.
Or 2026 with Doomsday, 2027 with Secret Wars, 2028, X-Men, Ghost Rider, third film that they're already developing. What's the other one that doing for
Black
that year?
Panther 2? Or Black Panther 3?
Black Panther 2. Or Black Panther 3, yes. So like those are the three films for 2028. 2029, summer, book it now, Spider-Man 5.
Yeah. I still think we get Shang-Chi somewhere in there. I really like that rumor.
I don't.
I don't. Just because people really liked him, and it seems like he's going to be playing an interesting role here coming up in Doomsday. Especially him going against a fan favorite. I think it's going to help people like that character. But that's all.
Find a way to incorporate him into Spider-Man 5 and just have him be a character there. Have him play the Frank role there. Like, that's what's going to happen.
What I really want is Shang-Chi to just finally say fuck it and go hang out with the Defenders. But
the Defenders don't exist in the movie, so there's no point.
Look, finally getting that Shang-Chi Iron Fist crossover would be incredible. That's all I'm saying.
By the end of these two movies, I really hope we see Charlie Cox with these characters. I know we're not going to. I really hope we do.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's also the other thing where it's like, I know we're never going to get it. Man, if we could get Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin versus Tom Holland Spider-Man, it would be incredible.
So again, that Kevin Feige interview made it sound like it wasn't as weird in terms of licensing as we might think.
I know.
So I think there's a chance.
The question for me at this point is less the licensing. It's more of a, where's the story
where's
of that
character going to end up at the end of where is he going to be at the end of Born Again?
Because you bring him back into New York and it undoes a lot of that story. Now you can do it with the whole reset, but
they kind of did that here, where they ignored the events of Born Again Season 2 because crime's at an all-time low. Spidey's cleaning up the streets. Meanwhile, Daredevil Season 2 ends with riots in the streets and masked vigilantes everywhere.
True.
They're polar opposites to each other. Even though, yes, we get the scene of the key to the city, we get the Fisk for Mayor poster on a dumpster, which is literally where they sent the story of that season of this show when it comes to the context of this film.
I mean, on one hand, though, at the same time, though, like you can tell that the story of Spider-Man is also influenced by the Fisk propaganda we saw in that show. Like, I do think it balances itself out well enough for a 4 fucking year montage, which is still insane to me. If I'm being honest, that's kind of one of my other critiques here. Is like, I wish we got a film somewhere within that 4 years. I would have loved to have seen like him have some growth outside of Ned and MJ. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy to see them back, and I'm happy that we have those character moments. But I would have loved to see Peter get a whole new group of people. And I think there's still possibility for that. I think we need more characters. Give me a Felicia, give me a Gwen, give me someone.
I agree. Well, I also don't think you could have a film in there and then still try to get back to MJ and Ned's story in this film.
Oh, see, I don't. If they did that, I think that they should have made that Spider-Man 5.
No, instead they're going to set up Paul.
Fucking Paul. Look, it brings me so much joy that they named that man Paul.
So they didn't actually name him Paul. Okay, I know he is named as MJ's boyfriend in the credits, but there are people that are commenting on the actor who also played older Ezra Miller. Ezra in the Ahsoka show.
I can't
remember the actor's name. Yeah, that's the one. I have it open here. I should just go look.
Yeah. That's going to be Aman Esfandi.
Thank you. Um, the boyfriend, there have been posts and he's commented or he's reacted to things calling him Paul. There was something with Feige or somebody else online where they referred to him as Paul. Like it's kind of tongue in cheek for those who know. I don't think it's official, but if that was the route that they went, and let's say they do symbiote stuff, that could lead to them retelling one of the Griffin's least favorite Spider-Man stories, and I'm here for it.
Look, I just like to hate on Paul because he's a shitty character. He's just a really badly written character. And if they did, frankly, they will never recreate that storyline, Mitch, because of how stupid it was.
Also, shout out to all the people that were.
Let me tell you about math children. That is a thing.
Yeah, I know.
Babies
also,
made
shout out
from
for
math.
the internet. Shout out to the internet for trying to make Keith David's role in this more than it was.
Yeah, I would
fucking narrate the YouTube video. I still think he could play a great Doc Connors by it.
I mean, there was that rumor, right, that like Hulk's role was supposed to originally be Kirk Connors.
This is better.
I like this a lot more. I think this fits for the MCU a lot more. The other thing, I was looking through some stuff here. Yeah, the Paul Vidal hilarious. I do love that there wasn't a focus on MJ having a boyfriend. I like that it was just, hey, here's a moment for Peter to feel bad, move on. Like,
I also really hope that in this.
Also, I really hope MJ dumps him because he does genuinely sound like a terrible boyfriend.
He does. Well, again, he's Paul. I am interested to see the story that they look to tell with this first X-Men film. I know we've got some casting rumors. I expect we're going to get more at D23.
Oh, yeah.
I really hope that the fallout of the New York situation is something that is dealt with in that film. Because again, time and time again, you deal with things like Westview, where she takes over this whole town and then it's back to normal and nothing really comes of it. She literally took the most populous metropolitan in the world, or in North America at least, and froze a 1 kilometer radius area of it, forced everybody in that radius to stop moving for what seemed like minutes. That's going to cause car accidents. That's presumably it's not a horizontal range. So if it went up high enough, it went up 1 kilometer, that could mean plane crashes for planes that flew through that zone. It means car crashes. It means people who shit themselves because they were going to use the toilet and couldn't make it there in time. Like, there is so much to deal with in that. And I think that the fallout to mutant kind in that film is going to be something that is going to stem from this incident. And again, I do sincerely hope that all of my critiques of this film aside, what they have set up here is paid off in future projects.
I 100% agree.
Because again, this didn't feel like enough of a Spider-Man story for me to love this as an end-to-end story. But again, I feel like this is going to be the Thor the Dark World of it all, where future projects are going to make me look back on this project more fondly.
I was going to say, if that means that you start referencing this movie instead of consistently referencing Thor the Dark World, I am okay with it.
No, I'm just going to do both.
No, I think, I come down on the opposite spectrum of view of where it's like, this gives me so much hope for future Marvel. Especially with the talk of how they want to do more team-ups within the movies. I think if you're going to continue to do team-ups like this, of having people be lesser important in their roles, but still playing a hand, I think it'll be really dope. Keep giving us relationships.
I want to see Kit Harington and Ghost Rider. We're not going to see Kit Harington and Ghost Rider because we're never going to get the payoff of the Eternals post-credit scene with fucking Blade. So, again, there are things that I want to see get paid off from previous projects that just never will.
Okay,
and
actually,
I worry that things they're setting up here will also not.
Pie in the sky if I could get anything, right? It is to get the Eternals payoff in Ghost Rider specifically. So there's a possibility of us getting a recreation of that one shot from Avengers where Ghost Rider pilots pilots a Celestial.
See, I just want Midnight Suns.
Look, I just want Ghost Rider to drive a Celestial because it makes it the coolest fucking thing ever. No, I think this leaves me with a lot of hope for Marvel. I cannot wait to see what's next.
I need to see this movie again to see if I still feel as strongly after subsequent views.
I will say I think a lot of why I love this movie was seeing it multiple times. I didn't even mention crowd reaction, right? Like for us, I don't think it wasn't a shocking reveal when they show the screen and it says Jean Grey.
No.
Man, my theater popped the fuck off.
Mine did not, but I have gotten to the point where I'm so sick of seeing films around teenagers and adults that don't know how to stay off their phone that I'm paying a premium to go to an adults only theater and sitting in the second or third row. So there is less of a chance, but a non-zero chance that someone in front of me pulls out their fucking phone in the middle of a movie.
I saw this movie at 4:15 on Thursday, near the middle of the workday.
At Disney?
No, not at Disney.
Okay.
And that entire theater popped off. I saw this movie again at Disney at 9 in the fucking morning. And that theater also popped off. Third theater did not.
So
But that also had been out for a week, so people kind of knew at that point.
I will say, Doomsday tickets are out. Go get your tickets if you haven't already. Good luck if you haven't. I got the earliest showing I could that was not in 3D. So I will be seeing that at 3 in the afternoon on a Thursday, taking the day off work to see that movie in a packed theater because it is not one of those 19 plus adult only situations. I cannot wait for that experience and actually, before we even get there, Avengers Endgame Encore. I don't think tickets are out for that yet, but I plan on seeing that in theaters.
I have to imagine they'll go up maybe next weekend with D23.
We'll see. Either way, when those are available, I'm going to go see that movie again. I've seen it 4 times in theaters. This will be 5. I will never forget the way that I felt in that theater with that crowd reaction at that time from that film. It's the greatest cinema moment I've ever experienced in the theater. I hope that what they've built to with Doomsday, especially with the fumbles they've had getting here, I feel some fraction of what I felt with Endgame. And I do expect Secret Wars to amp that to 11.
Yeah, I expect it from Secret Wars. I don't expect it from Doomsday. But that's all future stuff. We will be talking more Marvel here coming up, folks. Obviously, we'll talk about it in relationship to D23. I'm sure we will do Vision Quest. And we do plan to eventually do that Marvel ranking everything before going into Doomsday episode.
Right, I gotta start rewatching stuff. I went to Ted Lasso instead.
I got all my movies done, baby. I got all of them. I got all of them ranked. You're not gonna like where this one is.
I'm expecting that this is probably gonna be in your top 3. Just
you
based on the
are
conversation, the way it's
100% correct. It is number 3.
Behind Endgame and
I've told you what my favorite Marvel movie is.
Shit, you have. What is it? God damn.
Mitch is a bad co-host.
100%.
We talk far too much for him to actually remember this. I don't feel bad about him not remembering this. Because I think I just said it once randomly in a Discord. So. No, it's Thunderbolts.
I don't think. Oh, yeah. That tracks.
Yeah. I love this movie. Go see this movie. This movie doesn't need your help making money. It's made more than enough money. But
it will keep making money. I'm sure.
At the same time, I like people putting Nolan in his place. So. Go let us know what you thought of this movie. Do you agree with me, or do you agree with Mitch, or are you somewhere in between? Please let us know in the comments below on the YouTube. We will see y'all in the next episode, but until then, be good to each other, and have a magical day.
Excelsior.